down in the gully a little while ago getting some water. I found this can here, this old Coke can that somebody obviously lost somewhere along the way, dumped it. I'm going to show you how we can make a little pot out of it. And what I need to do first of all is I got to cut the top off, because we're not going to need that. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it with good snow. And what I found also when I was out wandering around, you can't see it real well. Let me come close. Maybe you can see it a little bit. This is some dried up grapes from some vines I saw, and this is the closest I can come to coffee. So we're going to pack this down in here like this, and we're going to let all this warm up next to the fire, heat up, and later on tonight I'll be able to drink that, have a bit of a hot drink, a little bit of flavor from the grape, and hopefully warm me up a little bit. Maybe a little bit of nutrients too from those dried grapes, those dried wild grapes that were left over. So in just a little bit I'm going to have my version of a cup of coffee. This is the best I come up with in light of the fact that there's no chicory to be found this time of the year out here. So we'll see how dried grapes make for a midnight cup of coffee out here in the wilderness. You can see what's left of these grape vines and dried up grapes I found. So I put them in there and let them boil up real good for about 45 minutes. If you look real close, I turned down the edges of the can here that I cut open so that when I drink it, it's not going to cut my lip or anything. So I turned them over, and this is my midnight cup of coffee. Oh, that's good stuff. That's better than the coffee my wife makes. I've been out here for a couple days, and after a while it starts to get lonely. I miss my family, and I certainly miss being able to be in church on Sunday, worship God with the people of God. But at the same time, when you're out here, it's a great time to be alone with God, and spend a lot of time with Him in prayer and reflection. So that's some of the positive parts about being out here all by yourself. But at the same time, you gotta stay on your toes, and because you do have to find a way to survive out here in the wilderness. Best I can do is just catnap every now and then. It's gotten pretty cold tonight, and I've had to get up and move around a little bit just to keep myself going. So I can't wait for dawn. Gotta find some food. It's time to go on the hunt.
Here I was, back in the wild again, and I felt right at home where I belong.
Kids, don't try this at home.
I had that feeling coming over me again, just like it happened so many times before.
Here he is. I got him up on the hillside there. He was up in a tree. I snuck up just underneath him, about 30 feet away maybe. I popped him with my little primitive bow. It was cool, man. Well, I got this squirrel out here with my bow and arrow, and I skunned it out and cleaned it up, washed it in some of the water down here in the creek, and I've got it here in the fire, and hopefully it's going to cook up. It's probably going to take quite a while to cook up over the open flame, but you definitely want it to be well done, because you know telling what kind of diseases this squirrel might have, so we want to make sure it's cooked real good. Tastes like chicken. We're out here in the wilderness trying to survive. It's not all that different when you think about what you experience in the desert of stewardship, trying to live your life in a way that pleases God and use the resources that He's given you to honor Him. Listen to what God says in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 27. The lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is man's precious possession. You know what? I think when it comes down to practicing stewardship, diligence is the key. Let's face it, it's hard to practice good stewardship, to manage the resources that God has given to us. We can get lazy. It takes a lot of time, it takes effort, and it takes commitment. And you know what? That's hard to do. And it's a difficult thing to manage our finances in a way that pleases God, because it does require a lot of diligence. And when you think about it, it's not just about ourselves, but it's about our entire family and ultimately the legacy that you leave for your children. So when you think about being diligent, it's not just about being diligent for yourself, but about passing on godly principles for managing our resources to your kids, so that you create a new generation who is going to be faithful to God and giving to God and glorifying God with the stewardship of the resources that are all around them. That's what this is all about. Not just you being a good stewardship of what God's given you, but our kids growing up to do it better than ourselves. That's what this is all about.
The spirit of the woods is like an old good friend. Makes me feel warm and good inside.
I got this here rabbit up on the hillside with my primitive... rabbit. Take two. Yeah. I got this here squirrel up on the...
Let's go hunting, baby.